Welcome back to the Dr. Sia channel, everybody. So you're about to watch session 2 between myself and Chantel, who's experiencing complicated grief and a series of defense mechanisms that get in the way of her healthy grieving process. So in session 1, we saw her intellectualizing. And in session 2, we're about to find out and see what she's going to bring in next. Now, if you don't know much about defense mechanisms, make sure that you watch one of my previous educational videos here on the Dr. Sia channel on defense mechanisms. But also, if you don't know much about Chantel, make sure that you watch her session 1 between myself and Chantel, because that's going to obviously help you lead up into this session a lot more. At the end of that session, she started rationalizing a bit, and we're going to see if that's what's going to pop up for her now when she comes in some 2 weeks after her first session with me. So make sure you stay tuned, because after the session, you're going to see me break it down, talk about it, what I saw, what I did, and you're going to have a chance to have your say as well. So stay tuned, and I'll see you soon. Chantal, where would you like to start today?
Well, I went away and I thought a bit about what you said. And I have noticed a little bit that I do tend to think about things a little much, maybe, like what was it, intellectualizing?
Mhm.
That was sort of something that I was thinking about. And yeah, I've realized that I do tend to do that a bit. And things just, I don't know, maybe there is something, a little bit of something there, because I feel, well, I mean, I just haven't been as into things as I have been. Like my job, for example, which has always been something there for me, something stable. I just haven't been enjoying it as much, I suppose.
Okay.
And sometimes when I go out with my friends and do things, and I just haven't really been into it that much lately, haven't
Okay.
been enjoying things as much. So maybe I'm becoming a little bit more depressed as time
Oh,
goes on.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's,
Yeah, you're not engaging with your friends as much as you used to, when you're not enjoying work as much either, and you're starting to suspect that perhaps you're becoming a bit depressed.
uh, yeah, yeah, something like
Oh,
that.
yeah. And so we were talking about this intellectualizing. Do you think that this intellectualizing is part of what causes this isolation and not enjoying yourself as much?
Potentially. I
Okay.
mean, I'm not entirely sure, but maybe
Sure.
there's something there
Okay.
to it. But like I said as well, like
Mm.
I've still got most of my family
Mm.
intact. Like I've
Right.
only lost the one, so
Yeah.
it's still, yeah.
I understand. And we were talking about you having lost your sister.
Yes.
Yeah. And you're saying that you have most of your family members left.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, compared to some other people, like, natural disasters, attacks, all those things
Sure.
wipe out entire families, and I've only lost like the one family member. I've still got several left.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can see that that's important to you, that you have your family. You must love them very much. I'm wondering, do you think, Chantal, that this idea that you have your family members there, and that of course you love them very much, that there's some part of that though that's about you rationalizing the the intensity of how you actually do feel about losing your sister?
Um,
Do you think that there could be a link there, that some part of you says, no, you know what, I'm just going to keep focusing on what I do have so that I don't feel what I've lost?
Maybe. I haven't really thought about it,
All
but
right. I
yeah.
mean, as we look at it together now, what
Yeah.
are your thoughts about that?
I mean, yeah, maybe there is something to that a little bit, but I mean, I could be a lot worse off, but my family is definitely there for me. So maybe you're right. Maybe I'm thinking about that a little too much.
Hmm.
It's, yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
Well, like, if you sort of try to note, if you try to then put that aside, this rationalizing, what do you actually feel here as we're talking about having lost your sister?
Well, when I think about it again, I keep going back to, like she wasn't in pain. Like they did everything they could. So yeah, like I don't see the point in sort of putting like being in pain myself when she wasn't in pain at the end. Like it could have really been a lot different, and it wasn't. Like it was the best possible situation, realistically.
I understand. There's some part of you that says that perhaps there's no point in you being in pain.
Yeah, yeah.
And and I understand that. And I'm wondering if there's some part of you that questions your feelings as a way of, again, just making sure that you don't actually feel what you do feel, but rather sort of question the rationale around it, the reason around it, and the utility of it.
Okay.
Sort of almost keeping you away from yourself as opposed to more connected with yourself.
Okay. Yeah.
Some, do you sort of see that happening? Because I sort of ask you how you feel about having lost your sister, and then what comes to mind for you is how things could have been worse, and how she wasn't in pain, and there's no reason for you to be in pain. And I can understand that some part of you thinks that way, but I'm just wondering if do you think it's possible that that's just another way for your mind unknowingly, automatically just pushing away your feelings?
I mean, I do see your point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I understand that maybe that is a thing. It just makes a lot of sense to me, like not putting myself through something that isn't, I suppose, there that much yet.
I understand. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some idea that if you are grieving your sister, that it's almost like as though you'd be putting yourself into unnecessary pain,
Yeah, yeah.
unnecessarily putting yourself into something that's not already happening.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
suppose what I'm wondering is, do you think there's a possibility here that that thing, the grief, is already happening inside you because you obviously love your sister very much.
Mm.
And I'm thinking, do you think it's possible that some part of you just naturally actually does feel that loss, but then some part of you just wants to push that away?
Perhaps a little bit, yeah. But whenever I think about it, though, I sort of think as well. Like I've also got my friends here, and
Sure.
they're always there. So if anything happens, I've got them to rely on and support me and everything as
Sure.
well. So
Okay.
it helps.
Well, if you then sort of don't let those ideas come to the forefront, these ideas that um, everyone is around, and which is really beautiful that you have that, and you have a family and friends, and that everyone is there for you. But if you sort of just focus on how you actually feel about it, what do you notice feeling inside as we're talking about you having lost your sister?
I mean, maybe there is a little bit of something there. Like maybe I'm a little bit sad.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so there's a little bit of sadness there.
A
All
little
right.
bit.
Okay. Do you think that in our next session we can look at this little bit of sadness that you have?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Seeing maybe this little bit of sadness is tied to the love that you have for your sister, and for a person that you obviously love very much but have lost in your life, and see if what this sadness is about. Do you think that might be useful?
Um, yeah, yeah, we can try. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah. Let's have a look.
Okay.
All right, so that's session two between myself and Chantel on complicated grief and rationalizing. Now, did you notice the rationalizing that was going on in that session there? I was asking Chantel how she felt about losing her beloved sister. And you would expect that anybody who loses anybody in their life who they love would feel some grief and sadness about that. It's healthy and it's normal to feel sad. And it's good for you to feel sad when you've lost a person that you love in your life. That's the process that your body naturally takes to help you overcome and to move forward in your life. Now, what was happening for her, though, was that she kept rationalizing. So, not that she chose to do it, but it just happened automatically. Now, what is that rationalizing that was happening for her? Did you notice when I asked her, for example, how did it feel for you that you lost your sister? She would say, "Yeah, well, like it's not like I lost my whole family. A lot of people lose everybody, but I just lost one sister." It's like some part of her finds this justifiable, almost like an excuse to be able to tolerate the feelings that she has about that. It's like a way that some part of her pushes away her sadness so that she doesn't feel too much of it. Now, what we were helping her do is to see that that's happening so that she could start experiencing some of the sadness that she has for the loss of her sister. And we were successful because by the end of that session, she said, "Well, I feel a little bit sad." Now, that's not the optimal position to be in because obviously, when you love somebody really intensely, you're not going to feel a little bit sad about losing them. So, we want to see if we can help Chantel truly feel the intensity of her sadness so that she can begin the grieving process. Now, if you want to know more about defense mechanisms, make sure that you check out some of my other videos here on this channel on defense mechanisms. If you want to know more about self-care, and that's really what we're talking about here, we're talking about emotional self-care, what having sadness can do for you, make sure you stay tuned to the Dr. Sia channel because I'll be posting a video on that as well. Now, as per usual, make sure you subscribe and comment because obviously I did what I did because I have the training that I have, but you might have different training or opinions or experiences, and I'm really keen to hear those too. So, as per usual, I'll see you soon.